I'm going to say this very clear, okay? I've spent literally the last 2 hours dissecting this Chris Watts truck and Shanannwatts being pregnant, the little children, and so forth like that. And we are going to get into this nitty gritty and find out 100%, hopefully 100% of this factual, or it's fact. Yeah, it could be facts. We're going to look into the Watts truck, and everybody's been messaging me about the seats lifting and so forth. And I was like, you know what? We're going to make a video where we completely dive into it right now. So grab a chair, get comfortable, because we're going to dive into the Watts truck and how I don't think Shanannwatts was transported in this truck. With that being said, though, make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you guys hit the bell icon next to it, so when I do post videos like this one, you guys will get that little ring notification that I posted that video, and then you guys can watch, comment, like, and share. And again, thank you guys so very much for that continued love and support that you guys show on this channel every single day. This channel is what it is because of you guys. So keep on doing what you guys are doing. And with that being said, let's get into it. Now, I want to look at my little diagram here to show you dimensions and sizes, and I went all in for this. So let's take a look. Okay, so looking at it right now, if I pull it up here for you guys, these are some of this images and so forth were sent to me as well. So I do want to give credit to those people that have sent me some of this information about the seats lifting and so forth. Now, if you look at the rear seat dimensions, and right now I have Shanann being the orangey type color, mostly because she had her kitchen that color and so forth. Well, not the kitchen, the living room and so forth. And I do believe I remember one thing, she liked the color orange and white and so forth. But anyways, now we have Bella, which is the purple little girl. And we have Cece being the blue little girl. Mostly because that's the room colors that they had their rooms were that color. Now, I have gone in and typed in the dimensions for a Ford F-250 for the seats you guys can see right there. And then I figured out the actual comparison. It could be a little bit off here and there, but I got as close as I could. So this is what Chris has spoken to us about how he had Shanann inside the back of the truck with the girls and their feet that were on top. Now, again, looking at this, I don't see it to be plausible. One, because you have a possible, or not possible, you have Shanann being roughly an average sized woman, 5'4", about 156 pounds, give or take, because of the baby being the size of an orange at 15 weeks. A woman's normal abdomen that is measured, and this is average again, I'm not specifically going down to what Shanannwatts is because I can't figure out how big and so forth, but I'm just doing an average, is 38.7 for the abdomen, for the belly, without no baby. Now, if you take in consideration between being pregnant at 15 weeks, the average inches for a pregnant woman is to add 4 to 5 inches to the 38.7, which gives us between 42.7 and 43.7. Now, the back area for the rear leg room is 42 inches, 0.1. So technically, it would not be in compliance of up to an inch to a half an inch. But again, you have to think about, I'm not saying decomposition because she just had been murdered, but for him to comfortably, or not comfortably, able to stick her back there and still have an inch left, it just doesn't fit right. And again, it could be off here and there because she might have been a little bit bigger. She could have been smaller. We don't know the exact dimensions she had. We're just looking at an average sized woman because Shanann looked average size and build. Now, also, Chris Watts has mentioned that the Bella and Celeste had their feet on top of their mother's mid-waist. He just said it in the middle. If you look at this, not this one. If you look at this, so here we are right now. He said they were in viewing distance of him when he was sitting in the back left. The girls were in the back right in the middle. Cece was on the right, and then Bella was in the middle. That's what he said in the jailhouse video as well. So that's where they were, and then their mother was head towards the door. So if you're trying to fit a pregnant woman in there, it just doesn't seem right, because he stated in a Reddit post that I found, the Reddit post states, having some problems with him loading the truck that morning. In the letter from Christopher's book, Chris Watts says he dragged Shanann down the stairs, laying on her back. Says he drug Shanann down the stairs, laid her by the back door. I take to mean the back door that leads to the yard. If it were the garage, wouldn't that have said that? Oh, I didn't even realize that. I'm sure it's been mentioned on the sub before, but you can never see him on the camera struggling to drag Shanann into the truck. No way he would have been able to carry her. You can't just throw 150 pounds of dead weight over your shoulder or hold in the middle, and her would have been seen her body on camera if he had dragged her, which is true because we saw underneath the truck. If he had her overhead, like on his shoulders, which would be no way, you would have seen that on camera. It just never showed him loading Shanann into the truck. I 1,000% see a car packed in the gravel, which I don't believe that. I think she was taken out the back. And Betty and Nate's security video, if you go back and look at Betty's house, her garage faces the east, not the street. Betty even confirmed she saw a vehicle parked in the gravel area that morning. Although when you look at the doorbell footage of Shanann returning home, there isn't a car parked there, which we did see in a different video that there possibly was a vehicle there. I have always had a hard time believing NK was actually there when these crimes were committed, but none of this is adding up, they have stated, and so forth on like that. If we go down to the next one, I've been wondering this too. So it's not just myself that thinks this. There was a truck similar to hers when parked there, but maybe she was just there as a lookout, which could be a possibility that she was there to look out and then went into the home to clean up after Chris had left. Who knows? To know, or to let him know if somebody was coming while he brought the body out, which would make sense. Another thing, even if that wasn't her parked there, her phone did ping in Frederick shortly after he left. Chris said he got a notification that his garage door was open, and this is the garage door that's inside the foyer. So maybe he had her go by the house on her way to work to make sure the garage door was closed. That could explain that she pinged there after he left. And that makes me think she knew why she thinks he was asking her to check if his wife was still alive. He could have called his wife to check the garage door because she'd be home alive as well, as far as NK knew. I personally don't believe she was actually there in the house when it happened, but I do think she was aware and somewhat involved after everything I've read. I'm new to this subreddit. I wholeheartedly believe that. Now, again, looking at said pictures, you can see that the middle seat does go up. It does open up to have tools or whatever have you. Chris never said that he put the seat up. He said his girls were sitting on the seats from the far left or far right to the middle. How would this be possible? Yeah, okay, you can lift up both sides of the back seat, but he actually did say that they were sitting in the seat. Why would you, I mean, again, there's going to be people that sit there and say that I'm looking at Chris lying as a good thing, but then when he tells the truth like this, it's not technically good. So, do you get what I'm saying? Where we don't want to believe all his lies, but then we don't believe any of his truths. This is the only thing I think when it comes to truth, him telling us that he put the girls in, because he said he put Shanann in first. And then he put the girls in right on top of their mommy, because Bella said, "What's wrong with mommy?" as a couple times. And that's what Chris has stated. Could we believe this wholeheartedly? I don't think so, because again, looking at this picture diagram, if there was to be a woman inside said bottom seat, I just don't think she could fit here. Because again, looking at the bottom picture and looking at the right picture in the middle where it shows that the big side goes up, and then the right side picture shows the left side goes up. Man, that's a tongue twister. Chris said he never lifted the seats to get Shanann in. Could this be possible? I have no idea. Somebody did mention too that maybe he lifted the seats, shoved Shanann in there, then lowered the seats so they would pin her in there, so she would be squeezed into the floorboards or whatever have you, and then he put the girls on top. I just don't see it, because looking at the rear leg room being 42.1 and an average size woman being 42 to 40 or 40. See what I said? I said 43.7. So roughly an inch more than he was, or than she was. Now, I've always thought, again, that Shanann could have gone out the back. Because Chris did mention that it wasn't so hard just to lift a tab and you'd be able to go into the house in through the basement. Now, looking at this again, I don't see it. And then if it was down to this one, like, she'd be crammed in there, right? Or putting her over here. I just don't see it changing anything. That's why I think she went out the back. Because I still wholeheartedly believe we've seen tire tracks out the back of the fence line. We've seen possible little felts that possibly were from, and when I say possibly, I say that with much aggression, because it shows that it could be involved, but it's not factual because they never tested it, unfortunately. Now, the basement did go off when it came to the stairway, the sensor, which also the mudroom had a sensor. That door went off, but they were going off at the exact same time, which believes that there was possibly two people there. Again, there are people that have stated that she possibly was a lookout and a cleanup crew, but she knew about the murders. She just didn't want to be any part of the murders. Like that one story that they thought that possibly Chris had murdered his family, called Nicole, told her, she came over to console in him and, oh, now we can be together, but you got to get rid of them and so forth like that. And then they possibly were removed then. And Nicole said that I would stay back and take care of things, clean up, get rid of items. Because then again, in about a month after that, we see a mysterious woman entering the home from a black SUV. She goes in, but you never see her leave. Police officers come, they search the house. which it is negative for anybody in there or what have you. I really wish the Watts decided to put cameras in their house. Again, they probably wouldn't have activated them anyways because Chris had evidence on the front door, which we've never even seen. Do we even know it exists anymore? Which is unfortunate and upsetting because that could definitely have helped us. There was a back mount in the backyard, but then it was removed. He then goes and removes the actual Vivint security box, or he disconnects it, removes it to get it out. I'm telling you, I could sit here and go from start to finish, and maybe I should make a video like that, where it's just pretty much start from the beginning and make a whole video of just everything in a row. I don't know if you guys would actually enjoy that because it would definitely be a very long video. But it just astounds me that everything I've put together, and including hundreds of YouTubers as well that we have watched, reacted, collabed with, and so forth, it's the fathom of us civilians knowing wholeheartedly that this case was not handled right. There were good cops, there were good detectives, but there were other ones that hindered the good ones and messed up on certain things, as in Nicole. Because I guarantee if Kobach and Tammy Lee interrogated Nicole, she'd be done. Because of all the countless times as she has mentioned, they know this is going to trial, right? And then she's doing all this stuff. Do they know that I'm your protected witness? Do you think this will go to trial? Why is she asking that stuff? And then you guys think that she has not been involved. Like, she is playing scapegoat, and they literally fell for it. I'm sitting here in awe because I am so shocked that this continuously goes on, that people are like, oh, she wasn't involved. Yeah, okay, she might have not been involved to the point where she was actually like doing the act, but she knew about these murders. She either participated in the cover-up, the cleanup, the lookout, whatever have you. She knew about it. Like I said before, Chris, and this is a theory that somebody said, Chris called Nicole telling her he did this awful thing, or he took Shanann out. And in a panic, he had wanted her to come back, console in him, like I said before, but she said, you gotta get rid of this, you gotta hide this, and so forth and so forth. Which does seem plausible because her phone pinged in Frederick, Colorado. She had no alibi. She showed up to work late. And when she showed up to work, she literally called her sex therapist. I don't even know if I can say that on YouTube. For literally like a few minutes the first time, and then the next time was a little bit longer because she was only there roughly for less than an hour. But yet they didn't check her alibi. She has a friend that has literally been stated to leave Jim alone. Why would you even listen to a person of interest and not talk to Jim? Because funny thing is when Nicole called that morning in Frederick, Colorado, because her phone pinged, she was calling Jim. She did not talk to Chris all morning that day. Why is that peculiar? Because in the whole time that she was seeing him in those few weeks, she never missed a day to call him or text him in the morning. I know I'm rambling on more than what we were talking about when it came to the vehicle of the Chris Watts going into, then we brought that Chris was going into the back and so forth. So I'm getting off topic of what this video is actually in. But it just upsets me with me showing this now and then probably showing more things because people are literally defending Chris and Nicole sometimes. And I fathom so negatively. Is that even work? Fathomlessly? No, it doesn't. But it just, I just don't understand. Because again, looking at said image of her being on the floor, which he stated, they sat above her, consoling in each other because they were scared. I do believe he said also that Cece fell asleep for a little bit because it was a drive of 45 to 47 minutes to get out to Survey 319. And of course, some will sit there and say, no, he put down the bed of the truck and then slid her in the middle of the tooled boxes. Did you not see what was in the middle? It was like a wheel that held hosing or hoses and stuff like that. So there's no way that she would have fit in there. A shovel and a rake were in the back, and they barely fit. So where did she go? She obviously went to Survey 319, but how did she get out there if she would have never been able to fit in this vehicle? Betty that morning did say that she saw a gray pickup truck that was smaller than the big one. The evidence is there. It shows us almost everything, which thank God they got Chris, but they're forgetting NK. There are people that have done less than she has, and I've seen them go to jail for quite a long time because they were an accessory to murder. They watched it happen. They said nothing, and then they hindered themselves. So that being said, on the work truck with Chris Watts and possibly Shanann being in there, I can't wholeheartedly say that she was not in there because the math, the dimensions show us that she couldn't have fit back there. There is possibilities. That's why I say I can't say for 100% because I'm not a genius. I'm not genius. I just know how to add. So let me know your guys' thoughts. Was she taking out the front? Was she taking out the back? I need to know. I'd love to hear your guys' opinions. I definitely do want to get into more collabs. So if you guys want more collabs, hashtag collabs. We'll see who else we can find. I did try to reach out to Jay for Justice once or twice. She has not responded back. I was looking into possibly talking to Zav Girl. I'd love to go back to the ladies at 50 States of Madness. So let me know. And then, of course, you guys want me to talk with Omar with the Tilted Lawyer, too. You guys seem to enjoy that. With that being said, again, thank you guys for being here. Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. Keep nerding on.